Hi friends, this is Balaji Chirade, Assistant Professor in History in People's College Nanded. Today we are going to discuss about National Education Policy 2020. We will discuss about only higher education part of this policy. On 29th July 2020, our Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank declared that Government of India has been accepted National Education Policy drafted and suggested by K. Kasturi Rangan, the renowned scientist of ISRO. Last year, this draft was open for discussion, debate and suggestions. We have suggested in lakhs 700 districts, 2,25,000 villages suggested on the draft National Education Policy. Those all suggestions were considered and final draft was accepted in the form of National Education Policy on 29th July 2020. From last 1 month, our entire media, electronic media, print media and entire social media is discussing about this National Education Policy. What's new in this policy? Since independence, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's Higher Education Commission was appointed in 1949 to 50. Then Kothari Commission was there. In 1986, Honorable Rajiv Gandhi accepted National Policy on Education. Then Plan of Action was created in 1992. Then in 2009, we have accepted Right to Education RTE Act, and then now we have entered in a new phase. This new phase is very interesting. National Education Policy 2020 can be understood, can be correlated with present era, with present situation, with present demographic dividend. We need to understand that today we have 140 crore population, among which 32 crore students are going in our schools and colleges. This is the figure which is given by Government of India. 32 crore students are going in school and colleges. It means 32 crore customers are in the market, and all entrepreneurs in the world, capitalist agencies in the world, they are allured with this number of customers. This education policy is based on two hypotheses. One hypothesis is that once upon a time in ancient period, India was Vishwa Guru, master of the world, teacher of the world. When there were Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi, Kanchi, such type of universities, in which universities multidisciplinary education was given, and these universities have produced very intelligent and all-time teachers like Charak, Shushrut, Bhaskaracharya, Chanakya, Panini, Patanjali. Such type of teachers were created from this university, and number of students were enrolled from rest of the country, rest of the world. They were learning in Indian universities. So once upon a time, India was Vishwaguru, and again now the time has come to be Vishwaguru. This is the first hypothesis of this national education policy. One Another important hypothesis of this policy is, the policy says that we are going to provide manpower, human resource to the industry, to the market, which has entered in fourth industrial revolution. Friends, fourth industrial revolution is very important concept. First industrial revolution occurred in 1765. Second industrial revolution came in 1870. Third industrial revolution came in 1969, and now we have entered in fourth industrial revolution. This fourth industrial revolution is based on internet. This is based on machinery. This is based on automation of everything. Wherever you go in the market, whichever product you take in your hand, you will find that this product has been created by machines, by automation systems. Even our two-wheelers and four-wheelers and all machines are checked by laptops, by softwares. So this is the fourth revolution. Friends, at one side there is industry and market, and on other side there are universities, colleges and higher education institutes. There is some demand of industry and market, and there is some supply of universities, colleges and higher educations. The demands which are made by the industries and market, it is not committed by universities, colleges and higher education institutes. So there is a mismatch in between demand of the market and industry and supply of universities and colleges. So this policy says that we are going to commit, we are going to fulfill the demand of market and industry through this national education policy. So for that sake, we will reform everything. We will revamp, reform our curriculum, evaluation system and all rules and regulations. We will change to fulfill this demand of the market and industry. This is the second hypothesis of this national education policy, without which we cannot understand what is this policy. Dear friends, we need to understand that now in India there are 12 crore students are learning in universities and higher education institutes. Now we have 50 central universities, 402 state universities, 125 deemed universities, 325 private universities and 155 nationally important higher education institutes. It means around 1000 universities we have. We have 140 crore population and we have 1000 universities and 12 crore students are learning in higher education. This data is very, very important to understand higher education today. This education policy has declared for 20 years plan. 20 years phased plan has been declared by this plan. In coming 5 years, in 2025, this policy says that we are going to reduce all affiliated colleges. Now, if we have a glance on affiliated college numbers, we will wonder that one university has 600 colleges, 900 colleges, 1200 colleges. So this policy says that we will reduce this number up to only 300. Till 2025, each university will have only 300 colleges. So the government will need to create new universities. Government is saying that we will create new universities by 2025. By 2030, the government is going to increase gross enrollment gross enrollment ratio in 2030. The government is saying that we will go up to 50%. Now, only 26% students are enrolling in higher education. Up to 2030, 50% students will go to higher education. This is the agenda of this national education policy. Now, till 2035, every college, every higher education institute in our country will be autonomous. Every higher education institute will be degree giving institute, degree awarding institute, and by 2040, entire country's all higher education institutes will be multidisciplinary institutes. This is very, very important point of this national education policy. Now, we will go towards each point in this national education policy. The first very important point has been raised by this issue. The policy begins from accepting that there are so many lacunas, there were so many faults in implementing higher education till date. Now, they want to remove these all faults and lacunas. They want to improve the higher education. For that sake, now the policy says that multidisciplinary system will start from 2021. It says that we will start one higher education institute in every district, at least one higher education institute in one district, which will have multidisciplinary education system, and in which institute at least 3,000 students will learn. Minimum 3,000 students will learn. It means in our country we have 739 districts. New 739 districts will start this program. Now, this education policy speaks about multiple entry and multiple exit term. We need to understand this term. Now, this entire higher education system is based, this policy has been taken the model of US model, American model. So, in America and in the entire world, there is a degree of 4 years. Now, we have also accepted this 4 years degree program. Now, if a student completes 1 year of his degree, he will get certificate. If he completes 2 years, he will get diploma. If he completes 3 years, then he will get degree. If he completes 4 years degree, then he will get degree with research. This is the difference in between earlier degrees and the degree which is accepted in National Education Policy 2020. Now, choice-based credit system has already been accepted by UGC. Now, this multiple entry and multiple exit system has been accepted if a student wants to learn. If a student wants to learn anything separate from his regular study, he can learn. He can earn some credits from the other courses and he can add that credit in his regular course and he can get marks or degree or grades. Academic Credit Bank will be started in coming few years. This is very important feature of this national education policy. And another important thing is that all educational institutes whether they are private or public, they will have right to deliver online distance learning courses to match 50% gross enrollment ratio. This permission has been given to all public universities and private universities. Now we cannot discuss quality of this distance education, but still I want to underline that this distance education degrees will be awarded from all higher education institutes in our country. Friends, one thing is very important which we need to understand in this policy. This policy says that we will accept topmost 100 first ranking universities to open their campuses in our country, and our Indian top 100 higher education institutes can open their campuses out of our country. This is very important thing. See, we have accepted, we are ready to welcome top 100 universities in the world. What is our status in world education today? There are so many institutes, worldwide institutes, which decides the ranks of the university. And every year, they declare 1,300 universities and their ranking. What is the situation of Indian universities? Our first higher education institute comes after 300 universities. It means there is not a single Indian university, higher education institute in first 300 universities in the world. Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which has been started by Tata. This is the first institute which comes after 300 institutes in the world. Rest of the IIT universities and colleges, they comes after 300. We have very few numbers in our country which are recognized by these world ranking organizations. Every year, we have some thousand students from the world who come in our country and they learn. According to foreign minister who disclosed or who declared figure of these foreign students who are learning in our country, that figure is 40,000 only. And among these 48,000 students, 26% students are coming from Nepal, 4% from Yemen, 4% from Iran, 4% from Afghanistan, some from Nigeria, some from Kenya, some from other developing countries. It means we are catering to those students who are from undeveloped countries or developing countries, who are coming from Asia and Africa region. But you will wonder when you will understand how many students are going from our country to abroad. Foreign minister shared this figure in our parliament. He has disclosed that, he announced that 7,53,000 students are learning in US, England, European, Canada and Australian universities. And every year we are transferring 1,300 crore rupees to these universities in the form of fees. This figure has been published by Reserve Bank of India. This figure is very, very important. We purchase petrol on highest price. Petrol is our highest priority in our country. After petrol, I think only education is the commodity which has been purchased by Indians on high cost from the world. So students who came from backward countries in our country and our student, they learn in highly developed countries. We need to stop this drain of wealth, drain of brain. Because of that, we need to create quality in our universities. But already some top universities in the world, they have rejected to start their campuses in our country. So this is very critical. How these topmost universities like Oxford, Harvard, Yale, Massachusetts will come in our country, and how they will start their campuses in our country. I'm wondering how it will come in force, how it will start. One very important thing we need to understand, all professors who are working in universities and colleges nowadays. This policy says that we will give a decent atmosphere to every professor in the college. We will give fresh water, staff rooms, classrooms with all devices, internet, computer, and the rest of the things. This is important. The most important thing is that this education policy said that we will reduce PTR, we will reduce pupil-teacher ratio. It says that we will limit the pupils, students, from 10 to 20. Every teacher will have to teach only 10 to 20 students. This is very important thing. Now we are teaching to 100 of students. Now in my college there are 500 students are learning in history, but we have only 2 professors. We cannot evaluate correctly in this situation. But this national education policy reduces this strength. So it will be very beneficial to all professors. But how it will come in force, it is also very, very important, because now in all universities and colleges 40% seats are vacant and government is not ready to fulfill these seats. Government is not ready to fill these seats. This is very, very important, and all rest of the colleges, all major part of the colleges have been taught by clock hour basis. Major courses have been taught by clock hour basis professors or contract based professors. This is very important thing. So this policy says that if professors will do good work, we will reward them, we will give incentive to them. But if they commit any mistake or if they are not doing their part, if they are not teaching up to the mark, then we will punish them. So reward and punish, incentive and punish, both parts have been discussed in this national education policy. Friends, the distinct part of this national education policy is vocational education. This national education policy speaks about vocational education. See, in 2005, Nandan Nilekani, who was the writer of Imagining India, very wonderful book, he said that India is the youngest country in the world. The average age of India is younger than China and the rest of the world. So, the Indian population is not disaster, but it will convert in dividend if we try to educate our students in that way. So this policy says that now in India only 5% students are taking formal vocational education, when in US 52% students are taking formal vocational education. This figure goes 75 in Germany, and in South Korea 96% students are taking formal vocational education. This national education policy says that this percent we will increase from 5 to 15 within 5 years. Now only 5% students are taking formal vocational education in 2020. It says that we will give exposure to 50% school and college students in 2025. This is very Herculean task. How it is going to execute, it is very important thing. This education policy says that all ITIs in our country, all polytechnic colleges in our country, all industries in our country will be affiliated or attached with colleges and education institutes. There will be some incubator centers in colleges which will discuss and which will help to college and industry to provide manpower in that way. So, the degree which has started in 2013, which has been discussed from last 7 years, that is BVOC, Bachelor in Vocational Education. This BVOC will be continued and it will be integrated in another degrees, but it will be continued, it won't be discontinued. This education policy says that we will match all these standards with discussion or with the alliance with International Labour Organization. This is important thing which has been discussed in this policy. Another important thing has been discussed in this policy. This part is about professional education. This professional education is very important in our country. All our youngsters, all our kids are striving to achieve this professional education seats. Like medical engineering, there is huge rush in our country. All students from their childhood, they are preparing for IIT, JEE and NEET examinations. Now, in this policy, it says that it begins from agriculture education. It says that all agricultural universities in this country, they consist only 9%. There are 9% agriculture universities in India and only 1% people are learning agricultural education. Now this policy says we will collaborate agricultural education and veterinary education. We will give traditional knowledge, local knowledge and all advanced technologies to the farmers. We will begin food parks, technology parks in the university campus. Growing population of the country, growing food in the country, the data of the food and data of the population will be matched in future. High growth of food, milk and high growth in every agricultural food will be taken care. For this sake, all modern technology, modern instruments will be introduced in our colleges and universities. Next, professional education. It speaks about legal education. This policy says that we will compete with the world legal education. We will try to give justice within time, quick time, and we will try to resolve. We will try to reduce number of cases in all courts in the country. We will teach such type of techniques to our students. And it also says that legal education will be given in 2 languages. Bilingual education will be given to students. One will be obviously in English and other will be in local language or regional language. Another professional education which is very important for all of us, because major student in our country, they try for NEET. they try for medical exams, medical seats. This policy says that a student which will complete MBBS degree, he will have or she will have diagnostic skills, surgical skills, emergency skills, and he has to learn about Ayush, Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, Siddha, Naturopathy, and Homeopathy. And these all homeopathy Ayurvedic students has to learn about allopathy. Nursing education will be improved. These are the statements made in this National Education Policy 2020. Now, the most important professional education is given in engineering and technical and management area. All degrees related with engineering, technology, hotel management, town planning, neurosurgical and architecture management will be delivered from IITs and engineering colleges. This is very important thing. Now we have entered in fourth industrial revolution area. All our students needs new type of education. Now the entire market is based on internet and artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, 3D machining, big data analysis, biotech, nanotech and neuroscience will be taught in all these educational institutes. This is very important thing. Gradually, these all educational institutes, it may be medical college, it may be engineering college, it may be IIT. Gradually, these all educational institutes will be multinational, multidisciplinary educational institutes. Now, in Delhi, IIT and Kharagpur IIT, they already have started humanities and medical courses, medical science in their campuses. This is very good change in this regard. Friends, from last 5 years, no professor, no assistant or professor, associate professor has received minor research project or major research project in our country. These all type of funds have been stopped by UGC. For all such type of research funding, this National Education Policy has started National Research Foundation. National Research Foundation will be responsible for disbursing amount for research. Any proposal which will be peer reviewed and which will be valid, amount will be dispersed to such type of proposals in future. This education policy says that India spends only 0.69% of its GDP on research. In US 2.8%, in China 2.1%, in Israel 4.3%, and in South Korea 4.2% of their GDP they spend on their research. And at the same time, India spends only 0.69 rupees, and this money also transfers for only big institutes in our country. So, this new beginning will be very important for our professors, colleges and universities and higher educational institutes. Now, we need to understand that how these educational institutes will run in future. What will be the mode of their operation? This National Education Policy says that every higher education institute will have a board of governance. A board of governance. in which board of governors there will be representatives of government, the representatives from academicians, representatives from various expert areas. And these all experts will produce one integrated development plan for that institute, in which integrated development plan they will make their roadmap of progress. They will set their goals, they will set their aims and objectives, they will set their way of working, and this integrated development plan will be ensured, it will be assessed every year, and it will be checked by how much it has been fulfilled, how much the objectives has been committed. It will be assessed every year, and grants of government will be based on this assessment. This is very important thing. This education policy says that regulatory system has been changed. The regulation system which was outdated, which was irrelevant, which was critical, it was changed. It was rigid, it was changed. And now there are few agencies which will work in higher education, like National Higher Educational Regulatory Authority will be the highest authority in our country in higher education. Like NAC, there will be one accrediting institute which will be called NAA, National Accreditation Agency. This National Accreditation Agency will be given license by National Higher Education Regulatory Authority, and based on this license, this National Accreditation Authority will assess to colleges and universities in future. GEC, General Educational Council, will be formed, and all councils like ICAR, NCT, ICT will be part of this GEC. Now, University Grants Commission will be crushed, and Higher Educational Grants Commission will be formed in coming days, and all funds will be channelized through this Higher Education Commission, Higher Educational Grants Commission. Now friends, in this National Education Policy, it has been said that in all important cities and parts, Indian Institute of Transfer and Translation and Integration will be started. In this language area, this education policy says that we will work with different approach, and we will work for translation of Indian literature, and we will also work in translation of world literature in Indian languages. Now, the data part, technology part is also very important. This National Education Policy speaks about this system also. Now, National Educational Alliance for Technology, this autonomous body will be created. NEET, National Educational Alliance for Technology. This NEET will be responsible for providing technology to all universities, colleges, teachers and students. It will upgrade the technology, it will improve the technology, and it will provide technology to entire educational institutes in our country. Now, the entire higher education will be centered in Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog. Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog will have 30 members. This Rashtriya Shiksha Ayog will be permanent committee of Students Welfare Minister, Women and Social Welfare Minister, Sports Minister, Environment Minister will be continued as a member of this committee. Now, all state representatives will be members of this committee by rotation. Two-third part of this committee will be filled with academicians and eminent scholars in the country. There will be one executive director to execute all programs of this ministry, and this ministry will be called as Education Ministry, not Human Resource Development Ministry. This change has been made. Honorable President Ramnath Kovind has put his signature and National Indian Gazette has been published for this change. Now this change has been started. One more thing which is important in educational sector. What is that? This policy says that we will start Indian education services like Indian administrative services, Indian police services, Indian revenue services, Indian foreign services. There will be Indian educational services. We will see how this Indian education service will come in form. The last part, which is very important part, this policy says in 25.2 that we will spend 6% of Indian GDP on education, and we will increase in 10 years, and in 10 years this expenditure will go up to 20%. 6% to 20% is very important statement made by this national education policy. We are struggling from Kothari Commission that we need to spend 6% of our GDP when our literacy was 30% and when our population was 50 crore. From then we are suggesting every successor committee has suggested about this 6% expenditure. Now we have accepted it. Obviously, this 6% money will be very less, but still, if this 6% money, if this issue will be discussed in Parliament, if we make an act and if we pass such type of act in Parliament, then and then only this will come in force. Otherwise, central government or state government won't spend 6% amount in future. So the entire this national education policy will be endangered. It will be in danger if we won't spend money 6%. Friends, we have various issues in our country. Though we are saying that we have 1000 universities, but I am really worried about qualities in Indian universities. Not only state-owned universities, but in private university also. There are so many private universities which are running in 2 rooms. There are some deemed universities which are not capable to deliver degrees, award degrees. There are 27 deemed universities in Tamil Nadu. There are 21 deemed universities in Maharashtra and Karnataka. There are 125 deemed universities in our country. Only 30 to 35 Indian institutes are liable to be deemed universities. Rest of the universities are not up to the mark. We cannot say that these are the universities. This is a big debate in higher education, how these institutes got deemed university status. From last 20 years we are struggling, we are fighting, and we are discussing about this deemed university status. And if we talk about private universities in India, no European university has arrived and started their campus, but We have started Amity University, Sharda University, JP Jindal University, Lovely Professional University. These universities are there. Dr. Yashpal went against this all private universities in Chhattisgarh. But these all private universities are also not qualitative in our country. Because of that, we are making adjustment with our quality in higher education. If we want to survive in higher education in the world, we need to do more. We need to depoliticize our education system. We need to work with professors who has commitment with knowledge, commitment with future of the country, commitment with the students. Then we can survive in future. We need to discuss this national education policy. We need to appreciate which is appreciable in the policy. We need to criticize this policy if there are so many points, there are so many places where we can criticize this national education policy. So we will have to discuss this national education policy because we are important stakeholders of this national education policy.